Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order this town board meeting on December 6th, 2023, roughly 6:30 p.m. As always, we are remote and live streaming. If you'd like to join us via Zoom for these meetings, instructions to join are at the top of each of our agendas. We are also streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and to our website. That being said, I would like to ask Councilor Nicholson to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve, we have Deputy Supervisor Bollinger joining us via Zoom.
We'll reach out to her to make sure she's,
Tentatively.
yes, I will reach out to her, just to make sure she can turn her camera on for voting purposes.
Yeah. Just, let her know when she hops on to just say something.
Okay.
Next up, I'd like Councilor Waters.
Sure, absolutely. On behalf of the police committee and the town board, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge recently departed retired Chief Francis Marlowe, who served I believe in the village of Manlius first. He started his career in 1968 as a patrol officer, and he was promoted to captain, and then was very much a part of the police departments coming together, and was the chief of the town of Manlius Police Department beginning in 2002. I attended his memorial and saw the heartfelt and sympathy and the outpouring of love and remembrance for Chief Marlowe at St. Anne's Church, where he was a communicant and very active. He was also on the board of the FM Food Pantry and was a member of the FM Rod and Gun Club. He was beloved and as Chief Casalia has said, was a humanitarian. To be called that, I think, is something that is a great honor. And we just want to acknowledge him and ask you all to join us in remembering him with a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have open podium. We did not, as far as the last time I checked, have any sign-ins, but I understand we do have someone that would like to speak.
Perhaps not, John.
Yeah, no worries. So, if you'd like to share a comment, that's fine, but also if you'd like to, townboard@townofmanlius.org. That gets to everybody, including our.
Well, ma'am, I live in Manlius, so I go to people there, right?
Oh, you're interested in talking about the village of Manlius?
Yes,
Yeah, so then, yes, that would be the village meeting,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was explaining. A lot of people don't understand the overlapping boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes, many people do. We're happy to give village residents,
here too.
also,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
yeah, the village.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak at open podium? Okay. It's like, I don't think we have anybody online. Okay. Got one. Oh, is this the question I like to hear?
This is a question about speaking about Garden Park.
Okay. Yeah, so, I think we've had about 4 hours of comments on Garden Park, so the public hearing's open, and if it were to pass tonight, obviously we'll have a planning board as an opportunity to speak on it, and, I know the developers would be engaging the residents. So I would just say, for open podium, for things that, we've had a public hearing for, we try to steer away as to just be conscious of time. But if you're interested in comments about Garden Park, you can email us, townboard@townofmanlius.org, and if it does pass tonight, it will eventually be on the planning board agenda. And so signing up for the planning board agenda would be a great idea, so you know when the public hearings are coming up. Okay, so we'll get going right along. So first up, we have the Garden Park Plan Unit Development request for a zone change from CA to a PUD on Hybrid Street. And I know we have had a number of opportunities to hear from the developers. And as it stands, we've got 2 resolutions before us that are prepared. And Mr. Tedeschi, if you'd like to lead us through specifically that seeker.
So as discussed, we have had several conversations on the district plan that has been presented by the applicant. We've had a public hearing, we've heard several public comments. I have been listening and observing and trying to get a sense of where everybody is on board and where, what we've heard from the public and from the applicant. It's our responsibility now to go through the environmental impacts or potential environmental impacts of this zone change. And based on everything I have heard up till now, I have put together a resolution that identifies the impacts. And similar to what we did with Twin Ponds, which was another zone change, some of the issues that would be addressed under a seeker determination really are engineering type issues that we don't have the details on, and will come more during the site plan approval process. I have gone over part 2 of the the long environmental assessment form. The only 2 impacts that I saw from the zone change would be impacts on land and potential impacts on traffic. And the other impact would be on an aesthetic resource, but as I went through those, it's really an aesthetic. Is there an aesthetic resource around the project site which could be impacted? And there really isn't. So even though it might be a yes, it would be a no to small under under the impacts on aesthetic resources. The only other one that I thought might be questionable was consistency with community character, which is the last, that's number 18 on the environmental, on part 2. But again, as you go through those, consistency with community character, it says the proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character. We have to keep in mind that this is a CA property already. And then if you go through the sub ones, or the sub questions under under section 8, or under question 18, it talks about it may replace or eliminate existing facilities, structure, or areas of historic importance for the community. That's not it. Proposed action may create a demand for additional community service, schools, police, and fire. Really no, based on this being a senior citizen type facility. Proposed action may displace affordable or low income housing in an area where there is a shortage of such housing. That is frankly something we're trying to change with the PUD. Proposed action may interfere with the use or enjoyment of officially recognized or designated public resources. That's not the case. Proposed action is inconsistent with predominant architectural scale and character of it. Maybe, but it's similar to the Brookdale facility in size and scope. And then the proposed action is inconsistent with the character of the existing natural landscape. This was a former court. And it's set up against a large, a high bluff. So I don't, even though it might be a yes, if it is a yes, there's all no to small type impacts. So having gone through part 2, I have tried to coordinate or correlate that with the resolution. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go through the various impacts that were identified at the public hearings, and I'm very interested in hearing what your thoughts are on them. So we're going to start with, we're not going to go through all the whereas clauses. We're going to start with number 2. The following impacts are expected as a result of the action. A says there will not be a substantial adverse change in existing air quality, ground or surface water quality or quantity, traffic, noise levels, substantial increase in solid waste production, substantial increase in potential for erosion, flooding, leaching, or drainage problems. Then we go on to say the construction of 86 apartment units has the potential to result in moderate traffic. Although the town board has reviewed a traffic analysis provided with the district plan dated August 9th, prepared by GTS Consulting that states the amount of new traffic generated from the project would be minor, and will not be noticeable to existing traffic, which traffic analysis informs the seeker determination. The town board notes, however, that the actual design, actual engineering details of the project will not be designed until after district plan is adopted. The applicant will be required to prepare a site plan and seek approval of the town planning board before any development may occur on the site. The process that the town planning board will follow will be independent from the approval of the district plan, will allow additional environmental reviews, especially related to engineering of the ingress egress, drainage, grading, visual impacts, lighting, and other issues that may be a concern of nearby residents and will be equally protective of the environment. The town board also notes that the existing zoning on the property is commercial A, and the uses allowed under its current zoning have the potential for a significantly greater density of use than the PUD proposed for this residential use. This factor is given a significant weight by the town board in determining that the zone change will actually reduce the potential environmental impacts from currently allowed commercial A uses. I have provided that to you. Does anybody want to discuss that? Does anybody disagree with that? Does everybody think that that makes sense and reflects what you have heard during the public hearing? Okay, so let's go to B. There will not be a substantial change in large quantities of vegetation or fauna removal. And we can go through all this, but let's keep in mind this wasn't a quarry. So it is not like it's virgin land. This is a quarry that was already developed, and we don't anticipate any environmental impacts in terms of endangered species or any of the flora or fauna. Everybody agree with that? Okay. This isn't a critical environmental area. It's not designated as such. The action will not result in the creation of material conflict with the town's current plans or goals as officially approved or adopted. To the contrary, the proposed local law and district plan will further these goals as a conformance of the local laws authorized in PUD legislation consistent with this. The town board further notes that the project is being considered as part of an effort to improve the diversity of housing stock in the town and to provide a synergy with Brookdale as set forth in the district plan. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
From an environmental standpoint. The action will not result in a large impact, which will impair the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources or of existing community or neighborhood character. Everybody agree with that? The action will not result in a large adverse impact with respect to an increase in the use of either the quantity or type of energy resulting from this action. In fact, one of the proposals is to make this more sustainable in terms of charging stations and potential solar panels. There will not be any hazard created to human health. Everybody agrees with that. There will not be any irreversible change in the use of active agricultural lands. This is not agricultural land, as we said, it's a former quarry. There will not be created a material demand for other actions that would result in one or more of the above consequences, which we just discussed. There will not be a change in two or more of the elements of the environment that, when considered together, is a substantial adverse impact. This comes right from part 617, which is the seeker regulations. And there are not two or more related actions which would have a significant impact on the environment. So based on all of that information, and based on number 8, which talks about the potential of segmentation, this really, I don't see it as segmentation at all. But you could make the argument because we're considering the district plan change. And the planning board will be considering the details of the site plan. You could make an argument, but for the reasons set forth in section 8, it would be permissible segmentation because we can't even move forward with the next phase, which would be the site plan, without having having the district plan approved. Okay. So based on all of that, I am recommending that we issue a negative declaration in terms of the district plan and what's been supplied to us, that it will not have a significant environmental impact if we approve it, and the local law, which would actually be the implementation of that district plan.
Any comments, questions? Okay. For some motions.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution prepared by the attorney for the town to declare the town of Manlius lead agency for this unlisted action and issue a negative declaration under seeker in the matter of the Garden Park District Plan and proposed amendments to the zoning map of the town of Manlius.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion.
So next is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yes.
interrupt. Next is the
No,
actual
no.
local law, which will implement that. And we don't have to go through the local law, you've seen it. I think the only thing I would call your attention to is the findings and determinations. And make sure you've read them, understand the findings and determinations and why this local law will actually fit within the comprehensive plan
Yep.
and be a benefit to the people of the town of Manlius. And I left the 7 and 8 if anybody wanted to add more findings with that.
I will say, I did sit for a little while thinking if there's anything else. Tim did a pretty good job of summarizing all the conversations we've had.
That's smart, then you just strike it, and if you, yeah, then you just strike it, and then it's.
Right, so those,
Ready
that's
to
part of the
roll.
resolution, so we can just strike those 7 and 8 if there are no other additional.
We are known to
Add,
I
yeah.
know, that's why.
or take something.
Wow.
So we do have a motion to adopt the district plan on the parcel and then the local law.
Right.
Right, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt the Garden Park District Plan for the parcel located on Hybrid Street.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries.
Should I bring it home? Let's do all three.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt local law 2023-14 to change the zoning from CA to PUD for the parcel located on Hybrid Street as outlined in the resolution presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed. Thank you.
So this garden park will continue to the planning board. I know, been a long one. This is the second of the 2 PUDs we took under consideration this year. Pretty happy with how the process has gone. It's given, I think, not only the developers, but the town board quite a bit of flexibility to have really important conversations about the type of development we're looking for. And I think in a new way, really help steer and work together with folks. So excited to see this advance to the planning board and on from there. So thank you very much. So next up, we have a continued public hearing for an unsafe building located at 6602 Fremont Road. I know we've had an update from I think the folks that are responsible for the property. Would you just give us a little?
Is there anybody here on behalf of,
So I have Marie Nicholson who's raising their hand. Does that sound right?
it's not the attorney I had, but that works.
Hi, Marie Nicholson. I'm with Gross Palowie. I represent Fay Loan Servicing, the servicer on the first mortgage on the property.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So my understanding is that the plan tonight is to extend the public hearing to January 10th to allow for time for a proper response to what's been filed. And is there anything you'd like to tell us or add tonight before we extend that hearing?
Yes, we did have the roof replaced. The property has been secured. An architect was out there to issue a report so that we can get a permit to do the rest of the repairs to the property. So that is the progress that we've made.
So do we want to close the public hearing and then reset it? That's the plan?
No, you don't need to. I think the public hearing has been open long enough.
Oh, we're extending the date.
You were
Okay.
extending the date for a decision based on the information that's being provided by Ms. Nicholson, where it looks like some progress is being made. And because some progress is being made, I suggest that we give the property owner a little bit more time to secure the building, because frankly, it would be a lot better if we could secure that building than go through the process of actually having to take it.
Yeah.
So I'll look for a motion, unless there's any further comments on the unsafe building?
I would just like
Yeah.
to confirm with Marie that you'd be able to have the permit obtained by just January 10th. So that we're not doing this again.
Oh, yeah, that's
in
what
January.
The architect has already been out there. We're just waiting for their report. Once we have that, we can apply for the permit. So that shouldn't be an issue.
Can you state the architectural firm for myself?
I don't have that information, but I can obtain it and email it to you if you have an email that's available.
I'll be able to reach out.
Yeah, we'll.
I'll be able to reach
Here,
out.
I can give you mine. I'll put it in the Q&A and then.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll look for a motion to close.
Sure, make that motion to extend the date to January 10th.
We got
close
to
the public.
over.
Let's close the public. So,
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries.
all right, I'll make that motion to extend the date to January 10th, 2024 for the owners of the property located at 6602 Fremont Road to bring the building located on their parcel in compliance with the safety requirements outlined in the report provided by our code officer and the notice pursuant to Town Code 63-3 and 4.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Good, that is a much better outcome than where we thought we were at. Thank you very much for being here and sharing that comments, and we'll make sure we connect you with the code enforcement officer as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, next up, we have the year management plan and municipal agreement.
Yeah, quick discussion on the year management plan and municipal agreement. So, what I'd like for the board to consider tonight is to authorize the supervisor to sign an municipal agreement, essentially a renewal of the year management agreement between the Village of Fayetteville and the Year Committee and the Town of Manlius. I would like to add that the year management committee, with membership from the town and village, have some pending items in the management plan itself, and I would like to articulate those for this board to consider before making this decision. One is new for this year's cycle is the inclusion of antlered deer, antlered and unantlered deer in the control program. This is in the modified village agreement. And the second is a couple of parcels that, in the town that are being considered for inclusion. One sort of on the corner of 2K Road and 73. And the second is actually in the village of Manlius. And so we're waiting. I spoke with I think Dan is the chair of the village committee this morning actually about that. We have sort of a verbal agreement that the village is okay with this, but we won't know until the next committee meets on the 13th. So what I'd ask for is the board to approve supervisor signing the intermunicipal agreement pending these management plan adjustments. The remainder of the management plan remains unchanged year after year. If you're comfortable with it, fine. If not, we can table it for the next meeting post the 13th, which is kind of early. Right,
Yeah, we haven't acted on this yet either. Yeah, so we're considering this one.
So, thank you. So essentially, there are two separate things. There's the municipal agreement and then there's the plan itself. So,
I mean, usually we only get the intermunicipal agreement anyway, you're providing us with way more detail than.
Well,
information,
we have adopted the deer management plan in the
Have
past.
we?
Yeah.
Just never-
Haven't had it.
So the very first time that we got involved with this, we
Yeah.
adopted the deer management plan.
Okay.
And then the next time that we adopted it was when we added the tick drive amendment
Okay.
to measure the results. So anytime we make an amendment to the deer management plan, that's when we have to sort of re-adopt it.
Okay.
if you will.
That makes sense.
and some of the pending changes are kind of a result of the public input query that was advanced this year too, so it's great. These are good changes.
Any other questions? Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Fayetteville for the deer management program for 2024.
Okay.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then we have the adoption of the deer management plan.
So this, we may want to table this.
Until, yeah, okay,
Details
yeah.
of this will be coming after the 13th meeting, so
Okay, so we'll table that for the December 20th. Great.
thanks everybody.
Okay, next up, we have an update to Manlius tree code. We've got a set date for public hearing. Council wanted to like to just give us a little background and then we'll go ahead and set that date.
Sure, we haven't really looked at our tree code in many, many years, and I wanted to explain to you, you've seen a draft copy of what's proposed, and Councilor Taliano and I spent the tree commission, and Stephanie Grashy has been leading this effort to help us understand what's necessary for us and what's going on in terms of standards around us, both locally and also, throughout the industry. Let me read to you the rationale that goes with the draft. The town of Manlius has achieved the honor of Tree City USA designation by the Arbor Day Foundation as a result of consistent collaboration between the town and the Town Tree Commission over the last 19 years. To continue its standing as Tree City, critical updates to the town code are required by the deadline of December 2023. The current extent of applicable tree language of the town code, chapter 34, is attached. Can be attached for you. It's extremely limited in its purpose, scope, and detail, and will not be accepted as part of the town's Tree City application for 2024. So baseline requirements for the code updates were provided by the Region 7 New York State DEC Forester John Graham last year, including expanding the code with a purpose and rationale for the code updates, a definition section, designating authority and power for tree care within the town for all public trees, and a prohibition against the harm of public trees. The requirements were reviewed, edited by the Tree Commission to align with local communities with current Tree City standing, compatibility with the Manlius Tree Town Code, and to address notable issues the Tree Commission has experienced within our community. I won't go on, but I'll just say that once we circulated the draft to the planning board, the planning board chair Joe Lubia and planning board member Valerie Beecher replied with an interest in, from a planning board perspective, they said, and working with developers on several projects and from their own personal experience living in neighborhoods where developers have clear cut trees, they wanted to know we can include as a start minimal guidelines to developers for clear cutting trees and building around them. And they said this would be extremely helpful to them as the planning board when reviewing projects and site plans. So for example, this would have been valuable to have in the initial stages of the Hogue Lane development project to prevent clear cutting. But it would be valuable to have guidelines for the few remaining trees on the property as we are looking at the project currently and into 2024. So, and she referenced also the comprehensive plan, spoke to this idea of looking at the cutting. So we have to balance now the idea of not overburdening private landowners with restrictions ahead of site plan review. And I think something that's quite reasonable to have as part of the consideration of a site plan. And so I'm very confident that newer language that Stephanie has in the works that you'll be able to review shortly could speak to this. And I'd like to get feedback from you before we vote on the code, of course, as to whether or not we can leave it in or whether we have to keep working on it and make an amendment in the future. But we do need to pass the basics by the end of the year, or we are compelled to by our interest in staying in Tree City. Does that sound good for everyone?
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to be clear cutting now,
There's nothing.
but there's just nothing.
There's nothing about clear cutting.
Yeah.
I will say,
Just the state regulations.
yeah,
not
Attorney
the-
Cortez and I,
Right.
when he told me that essentially, you can cut like every tree with an extra foot, as long as you're not disturbing the ground.
Yeah,
The
so-
DEC might have something to say, but again, when you're talking about lots of certain acreage, so.
So for example, we can put in that if there is a tree of historical significance, there are a number of things that we can put in that are quite reasonable
Okay.
and not inconsistent with sort of the reach that the planning board would have anyway. So not overstepping the current planning board sort of scope of reach.
Sure, yeah,
Well, sure.
two things that come to mind. Just, the first is this doesn't do that.
Right.
This is completely about trees on public land. And this needs to be done by the end of this year in order for us to be in good standing with the Tree City USA.
Right.
So I think that kind of local law is going to take a little more time.
I think that, I don't know if it needs to be,
But we can't, we have the local law in front of us tonight. So you can't set a date for a public hearing
Right.
on something that we don't have yet. So we're setting the date on the public hearing for this because we only have one more meeting left in the month of December.
yeah, you're right, I don't have the language that would be.
Yeah, so we would just have to think it as a separate matter.
Well, we could do this in January. I mean, we could make whatever.
Sooner rather than-
Yeah, we could do it whenever you're ready to do
Great,
it.
I'll make sure Stephanie understands that too, and the tree commission members, but
Yeah.
that makes sense, and we don't
Yeah.
wanna rush anything.
And I think we're all like wanting to see further, but I think we've been interested in this. so.
Yes, for some time.
Yeah, and I'm glad the planning board is being clear about what they're saying they really need the board to look at it and take care of, so.
And just to clarify too, anything that happen in the future would not be about 2 or 3 trees on someone's property with a house on it.
No.
This is about land to be developed
Yeah.
and ideally stopping clear cutting prior to development. Just to be clear, we're not trying to, you can't do with your own trees.
Okay, so thank you. That was just to, that now like to make a motion to set the date for a public hearing on December 20th at 6:35 PM for the proposed local law to amend chapter 34 of the town code entitled Tree Commission. And, excuse me, and replacing it with an updated version entitled Tree Code. But before I ask if you had a second, Tom, have you had a chance to look at this at all? Did you have any questions?
I have no questions regarding it, or no concerns regarding it.
Great, thank you very much. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Aaron.
Just looking at the language too, I mean, this is really similar to what we're already doing, we're just codifying it.
Exactly.
Just to make that clear.
Just many words. Okay, next up, Deputy Supervisor Bollinger, would you like to talk to us a little bit about the Muir Fair proposal?
Hi, yes. This was really, there was another component of the original work plan that was not in the bid that we reviewed last meeting. So we're basically just doing a part 2 of the bid. Even with this additional funds, it is still less than the competitor bid that we had previously. So we're still feeling that this is the better choice. So I don't have it in front of me, but I'd like to make a motion to authorize the additional expenditure for the Murfield survey.
So just
At a rate.
at a rate of $3,876. Second. Okay, any questions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So the next up, let's see, we have the public water service agreement, outside service connection. Are we holding off on that?
Until the next meeting.
Perfect, so we've got that tabled to December 20th. Then, let's see, then next up, we have a 2024 budget amendment, due to just a typographic error in the budget. And you've got a motion prepared for that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to modify the 2024 budget for the Megnan Farm Sewer District. And this will go from the real property taxes account to the sewer administration account in the amount of $76,453.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next up, I talked to Highway Superintendent Cushing about this. Just a highway permit, Verizon's looking to install a utility pole on, I believe it's Mercer Road. We're just looking for authorization to allow him to sign that. I think we've got a motion prepared.
I'll make that motion, Supervisor, to authorize the highway superintendent to sign the town of Manlius highway permit for the easterly side of First Blair Road for a Verizon pole.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Let's see, what is up next? Oh, fantastic. Okay, so before us, we have a motion to appoint Carrie Gravelding as the deputy town clerk. I don't know, what's the start date? December 11th? I'm very excited.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Any comments? Would you like to?
I just wanted to take a moment to introduce Carrie to everybody.
I'm gonna stand.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't want me to put on the spot.
Carrie
No,
comes-
she's not on the payroll yet.
Yeah. You're not required. Carrie actually comes to us with some previous municipal experience. She worked at the 911 center in Onondaga County I want to say that we had a lot of really good applicants for this position, and we were very fortunate in that regard. Ann and I met with Carrie. She's a community member, well-established in the town of Manlius, and we're really looking forward to what she can bring to the team, and we're very excited about it. So I'm very excited to hire her. December 11th cannot come fast enough. And everyone in the office is excited as well.
Welcome. Almost.
We've got 2 motions ahead of us. So we're gonna do those.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mary Govelli to the position of deputy town clerk at a salary of $44,600 effective December 11th, 2023.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And I'll make a motion to appoint Carrie Govelli to the position of zoning board appeals secretary at a salary of $3,600 annually effective December 11th, 2023.
Second. All those in favor? Okay. Okay, so we'll just keep moving along here. Next up, we have to set a date for the 2024 organizational meeting for January 3rd. So if anyone doesn't know, the organizational meeting is easily the most important and also most boring meeting that we have all year.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
So this is, it's a really important meeting. Basically, we set up the government for another year of operation. That is a fun project through November and December for us. Do a lot of fun things. While I wouldn't say necessarily you need to join us because it's not very interactive, when that agenda is available, please take a look at it. And I will tell you, most times, if we get a question from a resident about this contract or that contract, the organizational meeting, a lot of times if you talk to someone at town hall, they're pulling up the organizational meeting agenda from the beginning of that year and looking at the contract. So it's a really great thing to understand where it is and how it can answer a lot of the questions that you might have about what goes on in town hall.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to set a date for the 2024 organizational meeting on January 3rd at 6:30 p.m. And I'd like to add that I find that to be a very exciting meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll publish it in the paper that way. It's a very exciting organization.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, we're gonna set a date for a work session for the comprehensive planning update. Really excited for that. I believe it's January 10th, 2024, 5 p.m. So it's promoted.
January 20th, it says here?
The agenda says the 10th and the motion says the 20th.
It's the 10th though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the 10th? Oh, that was me.
Yeah, it's the first one.
You can do 2 if you want. Maybe there'll be so much.
No.
All right.
Sarah and I say just one.
Yeah, all right. So I apologize for that.
No,
The
we'll
10th.
carry it.
So do we need to do it as amended?
No, that's
No.
correct. It's-
Whatever you say is.
Just say
fine.
the 10th. Yeah. So how about this? May I make a motion to set a date for a work session, January 10th at 5 p.m. for the purposes of discussing the implementation of the comprehensive plan and other business matters as necessary.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna just say that is going to be a great time. We also are making sure that the Eagle Bulletin has some updated information about what we're looking at, but what this is we've gone through the entire comprehensive plan and all of the implementation items and goals that we set forth, and we've done a bit of an audit to see what's already in progress, where things are, thinking about resources that we can marshal to bring things forward, and how we want to communicate that and report that out. And there are a lot of things in progress. It's a big, long spreadsheet. So we're just thinking about how we can make that most accessible and most accessible for folks and interesting for folks. And yeah, there's a lot to dig into. And I think also it's a way to model how the comprehensive plan will be working for the town, which is at the beginning of the year. We sort of refer to it and have projects that refer back to it. Towards the end of the year, in June or so, the steering committee will meet. We will provide information for them ahead of time, and steering committee members will be able to feedback on how things have gone and new things they believe are important for us to consider as we make the budget for the new year and plan for the next year. So that's a little preview. Thanks.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Sorry.
I interrupted the process.
It's
Apologies.
perfectly fine.
Okay.
Okay, next up, we have the approval of the minutes for November 15th.
So, minutes from meeting of November 15th.
I mean, I'm happy to make another motion, but I feel like I've made a bunch.
Just 1 second, the motion.
Oh, he made one? I thought he said he wasn't here.
No, I'm not here.
No, you're not here. Okay, I'll second his comment.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Wait, can I second even though I was only a part of that meeting?
Did you read the minutes?
Yes, I read them. I always read them.
There you go.
So the minutes are approved. Next up, we have the supervisor's report for November.
Excuse me, I'd like to make a motion to approve the supervisor's report for the month of November 2023.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then last up, we have approval of the abstracts.
Sure. Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve abstract number 23 in the amount of $845,275.14.
A second.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Anything else? We do have to jump into executive session real quick. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about while we're still, we got it right here? Okay, great. So I will look for a motion.
Purpose of collective bargaining.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. In favor of the executive session? Okay, opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
William, I'm talking about you know, your head all the time. Ears are burning.
My ears tingle.
Yeah.
Okay, we're,
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up? Okay, I look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in